Okay, I'm not really sure where this video is, but I think it's in Manitoba near Churchill because that's what it says down there. And it starts with this guy who's walking out of a building, and these people are guests, and that is a polar bear. And it looks like a baby polar bear, actually, really. But look at the size of the polar bear compared to the people. And yeah, they're pretty far away from it. But I just couldn't believe it when I was seeing this. This is me who had like nightmares as a child about having polar bears around and being eaten by a polar bear. That's like a core memory that I had when I was a kid because I watched this thing where this father and a bunch of his kids were like hunting and the father got eaten by a polar bear, right? I live in Canada. Anyhow, so I watched that when I was a kid and it just traumatized me because polar bears actually do eat people. And I literally looked at this video, and I'm sure you know by now that I'm one of those people that like is always looking. And there's no mature trees, and there's no structures around there. And if you go to like one of those research stations in the Arctic where they have polar bears and stuff, they're fortified with metal doors and cages and then a fence around the cage to make sure that the polar bear can't get through to you. Like polar bears will like slam into things to eat you, right? And it's just so shocking that I saw this. I was like, look at those people. Look at what they're wearing. That's not going to save you from a bear dragging you away and tearing off your arm or your leg. How are you going to run? Polar bears can run, okay? And they can swim. So, like, I shouldn't laugh at this, but those people are lunch. Like, the guy is laughing. He's like, oh, yeah, the polar bear is escorting them back to the lodge. I was like, no, man. What's to stop that polar bear from turning around, changing its mind, and deciding to eat one of those people? Like, I understand that it's not very likely that a young polar bear like that is going to turn around and attack a group of people like that, because it's a group of people. But have you actually watched polar bears eating seals? Just watch it. There's a whole bunch of seals in a big pack together, like them, right? So I just thought, come on, it's unlikely that the polar bear is going to attack a big group of people, but they could pick off the slowest person, Judy, who's not able to run as fast, or who has a broken foot or something, or who's not very healthy. It's just shocking to me that this is happening. Like, why would you put yourself in this situation? Why would you make yourself lunch? Like, there has to be some sort of law that this is breaking. Because I just don't see a person willingly doing this to themselves if they actually saw how polar bears hunt, or how polar bears climb up onto ships and stuff like that, or like just if you saw, you would never do something like this. At least I know that I would never do this because I know, like I said, I remember watching this thing where these people, and like I said, in Canada, every few years you hear about actual people who get eaten by polar bears.